Here, broadcasting live from fabulous Las Vegas, episode 427. And this is introducing the fee model of the Xandeum storage chain. So, all right, Xandeum is the storage layer for the Solana blockchain. It extends smart contracts, so they have more and more storage available, because right now they can only store it in accounts, and accounts are crazy limited. We cannot build real apps. So actually, what's happening here with my, so some water, I guess. All right, so the fee model. So, and we're live, by the way, so you can ask questions. Live messages are enabled. Good to see you guys all back here, and let's dive into the fee model, right? So fees have two sides, of course, right? There's one who's paying fees, and on the other hand, there's someone who is receiving fees. So I'll dive into both of these, right? So for the Xandeum storage layer, there are two types of fees. Two completely different types of fees. One is transaction fees on the one side, and on the other side, we have retention fees, right? So Solana itself, for example, has no retention fees. It was called rent there at some point in time. So you rent some storage space, you store your data in there, and then you pay rent, but somehow they abolished that, and it's just a deposit, and you get it back, and it's all a mess. And Anatoly has tweeted about that, and he said, like, the way it's implemented is really bad. So maybe he should have gotten involved himself when they did that. Yeah, so we have these two types of fees, right? We have the transaction fees, and we have retention fees, right? Transaction fees have dual character, because every Xandeum transaction, well, actually not each and every, there are exceptions, and I'll get to that later in this video, so stick with me here. It's going to be really interesting. Transaction fees have dual character. There is a Solana transaction, because all the storage transactions that go through Xandeum, they all go through Solana, right? So you send a Solana transaction that is also a Xandeum transaction, right? So when you do that, you pay the Solana fees, and I'll get into how much the Solana fees are, right? You pay a Solana transaction fees, and as we all know, Solana transaction fees are really, really as cheap as it gets. And that's one of the reasons Xandeum chose Solana as the first host chain, right? It's not the only host chain, but it's the first host chain. All right, so you pay those 0.000005 Sol per transaction, per Solana transaction, right? So that means you can do 1,000 transactions, at 0.005 Sol, right? So 1,000 transactions, it's going to cost you at the current Sol price around 65, 66, 67 cents. For 1,000 transactions. So that's great. So for the Xandeum transaction fees, right now it is the same amount, right? So Xandeum will charge the hey, Ricky Benny. So what's that? So we're charging the same amount, right? So and by the way, someone said in the comments here, Ricky Bernie, you are getting fat, right? This is all my muscle here, it's not fat. So anyway, so we're charging the same fees, right? The 0.000005 Sol per transaction. So you can do 1,000 Xandeum transactions for those same 65, 66 cents, 67, maybe, depending on the Sol price, right? That's why I have these different numbers here. So that is only for poke transactions, right? You store stuff on the Xandeum storage layer in the Xandeum file system. For all other transactions, it's going to be 1/10 of that, right? So all other transactions are relatively cheap, including a peak transaction or an mkdir to make a directory or stuff like that, right? So now the, what is that? The currency that the transaction fees are being paid in, and I always said it is going to be Sol, and it is Sol, right? But we didn't hard code the currency Sol into that. We're doing wrapped Sol, so it's W Sol, and that is Sol wrapped in an SPL token. So some of you may know what an SPL token is, but others are like, what the heck is an SPL token? An SPL token is a token on the Solana chain. So for example, the XAND token is an SPL token, right? The JTO token is an SPL token, and all these other things, right? So we made this not Sol, the native coin, the native currency, but we made it an SPL token. Why did we do that? Why are we charging W Sol, wrapped Sol, rather than just plain old Sol? If we make it an SPL token, it will be easy to have alternative versions of the Xandeum chain okay, so he was just making fun of me. Okay, that's good. So with an alternative version of the Xandeum storage layer, we could charge different currencies, right? There could be a hypothetical version in the future that has XAND as the storage economy, and you pay the storage transactions in XAND. Or there could be credits, right? There could be just storage credits that you can earn somewhere, and you pay in these, right? So we want optionality. Optionality is the key word here. We want to have options in the future, right? Not for abandoning, using Sol as the currency, because we feel it's great for the P-node operators to get paid in Sol because that's hard currency. Nobody's debating the liquidity of Sol, right? So Sol can be sold anytime because the liquidity is like crazy, right? That's the beauty of Sol. That's why we're doing that, right? But there could be alternative versions. There could be like private versions of the Solana storage, like for internal purposes in some enterprises or so, and they can have their own currency, right? So that's why we did that. I think that's a great choice. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. And by the way, if you haven't done already, give me that like button here for this video. If you haven't done so, subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss updates on the Xandeum project and the Xandeum network, and that you won't miss any others of my content here. All right, so then that is the transaction fees, right? So now we know what transaction fees are. Now with the poke operation, right, we need to figure one thing out. It's those 67 cents per 1,000 transactions, but Solana transactions are limited. So if it's a poke transaction and you want to get data stored in the Xandeum layer, then you might need a lot of transactions, because guess what? You can only store like 750 bytes, 800 bytes in one Solana transaction, right? So that means 1,000 transactions will get you 800 kilobytes for 67 cents. So that is great, 800 kilobytes. But, if it's 800 megabytes or even gigabytes, then that adds up, right? Then it'll become expensive just for the Solana transactions, not even for what Xandeum is charging in fees, right? So what does that mean? It means that we have another way to kind of upload larger amounts of data to the Xandeum layer, bypassing Solana, right? So this is still all blockchain grade storage. It will just be uploaded to a P node directly. And then that P node will do the consensus with the other P nodes. It'll create those Merkle roots that will be logged to the Solana chain and potentially other chains. So this will all stay the same, and it's all, you know, completely consensus oriented storage, but we just bypass Solana because those transaction fees to upload like 2 gigabytes or a few terabytes, they will be prohibitive, right? So this poke operation or upload operation, like bulk upload, that's being developed. It's not part of the STOINC that is going to be launched in the next few days, right? In the next few days, we have storage income live on mainnet. We have XAND staking live on mainnet. We have the owner operator model and all these types of things here. So that's all great, but bypassing Solana for bulk uploads, that is super important, especially for, you know, early business and enterprise customers that use the unstoppable operational data to store all their data without a central instance controlling it. So they need to upload their initial data set without paying a fortune in Solana fees. All right, so those are the transaction fees. Then we have retention fees, right? And that is super important because each and every storage layer has retention fees, right? It's like this and that amount of dollars per terabyte per month, right? So the best solutions out there without redundancy, just one central instance, right, are like $8 or $9 per terabyte per month. And obviously, if a customer wants redundancy, like have it stored on 5 different P nodes and stuff like that, it's going to be more expensive, right? So, yeah, so here's what that means, right? It is proven that people can and are able to provide a terabyte of storage per month at a cost of like, you know, $5 or something, because those that are selling it for $8, like Wasabi or so, they're still making a profit, right? So it's proven that's possible. There are economies of scale, of course, right? Then on the other hand, it's proven that there's demand at these prices, right? So those are just the market prices that we can observe. But the Xandeum storage has additional features. Right? It's tightly integrated into Solana. It is blockchain grade. It has redundancy, configurable redundancy, and all these types of things, right? So it's not the plan to be the cheapest storage provider here, right? There will be some premium, and that will be great for the P node operators because they are not in a competition, in a kind of a race to zero, right? Which we have in just generic storage. It's a race to zero, right? It's, you know, you cannot really differentiate much in how you store that stuff. And then it's all about pricing, and that's that race to zero, and we don't want to be in that race, of course, right? So with all these unique features that we have, and with apps that are being developed, right, both inside of Xandeum, and we have like a lineup of potential setups there that might be developed under our own roof, which, you know, includes the AI governance that I've talked about so often. It includes the unstoppable operational data, and it includes a few others, right? So, okay, so and those are the retention fees, right? Retention fees, what we have as of today when STOINC goes live, and we're doing the very, very latest, the last tests. I did that. I tweeted that yesterday. I believe the goal was to launch it this past Saturday. We didn't reach that goal. And, you know, guys, I think I was clear when I tweeted it everywhere that this is a goal. We wanted to reach that but we wanted to have it good quality before we launch it. So we're a few days behind schedule. The team still did a great job. We talked about it in daily meetings, and sorry I wasn't able to, each and every day say, oh, we didn't reach it. It's going to be coming out when it comes out, and it's not long, right? It's just a matter of days now. And then we have STOINC live, and then we have the XAND staking live, right? So that is all great, and we have the transaction fees live, right? So if anyone runs that on mainnet, those fees will be paid. Yeah, those fees will be paid, and they will be distributed to the P nodes and to a centralized instance, which is called Xandeum Platform Corporation. So that Xandeum Platform Corporation is a centralized instance. It's working closely together with the Xandeum Foundation. It's funding the Xandeum Foundation to build the layer, to build the protocol. And this Xandeum Platform Corporation is going to be getting a platform cut of 5%. And the foundation is going to get a platform cut as well. That's 5%, but it goes down over time from 5% to 4 to 3 to 1 to 0 as the platform is being built out. Once the protocol is ready and basically the incoming fees are higher than what we need for the team, then the foundation cut will go to 0. But the Xandeum Platform Corporation, which is also an investment vehicle, right? We used to call that Xandeum Preferred Investors or something like that. It's now called Xandeum Platform Corporation. It's an actual Nevada corporation, and that's where the platform cut is going to go to. So 90 to 95% of all the income will be going to the P nodes according to that storage income formula that I've talked about earlier, right? So this is the fee model, right? So I wanted to let you know the model. The model is, let me reiterate, 2 types of fees: retention fees and transaction fees. Retention fees need to be, competitive with other storage platforms, but it's likely going to be slightly more, especially when there's redundancy and all these types of things included. There's transaction fees also. Transaction fees have a Solana component and a Xandeum component. The Solana component can be bypassed for bulk uploads. Bulk uploads coming soon, right? Not right now. Also retention fees coming soon, not right now. Then what's also in the fee model is it's an SPL token. The storage economy is in an SPL token, and it's going to be WSOL. Wrapped SOL, right? So it is in SOL, as we also always claimed, and I think that's in the best interest of the P node operators because they want hard currency. They don't want a token that they have to wait for years until they can actually sell meaningful amounts, right? That's why we do it in WSOL, but we want optionality for the future. We might just change the token that the storage economy is in, or we just might make alternative versions of the Xandeum storage layer for special customers, for special interest groups, for whatever, that have their storage economy in a different token, which could be the XAND token, which could be storage credits, which could be all sorts of things. So that's the fee model. And I also talked a little bit about the absolute amount of the fees. And this is, of course, configurable. It can change over time. And it is being set by the Xandeum Foundation. And yeah, so that's where we're at. So now let me look at the live questions here. I've seen a few things here, but I was busy talking. Ricky Benny. So Bernie, what happened to our airdrop 2? Claiming it's about 5 months ago or less. The DAO completed when claiming, or the DAO is useless. So with the airdrop 2, we've created the Merkle distributor already. The Merkle distributor is going to be funded, right after this meeting, and then it's a question of Kaveen opening up the the front end where we can actually claim it. So it is almost there, as I like to say. Okay, Verena was mentioning that to Ricky. Thanks, Verena. Get my node. I think I know who that is. I had a phone call with you, with Mr. Get My Node, right? Like even a video call a few days ago. Hey, Bernie, could you outline the roadmap for the coming months again? Thanks. I will do that. And then Ricky Benny, hi, what did you mean that he has talked about airdrop 2? Okay. And then Get My Node after STOINC. Bernie will take questions. All right. So outline the roadmap for the coming months. Right now, airdrop 2 is going live. STOINC and XAND staking is going live. Then we are doing two things here at Xandeum. One will be an equity anchor round for the Xandeum Platform Corporation, right? So, and to be frank, we've been, to be frank, yeah. So we've been super busy with building all this stuff out. And as always, it takes a bit longer than you think, but we're going live with STOINC. We already have 64 mainnet P nodes live. So that's great, right? So once we go live with STOINC then, in these few days here, in the next few days, and with XAND staking. So with XAND staking, we will revisit those portals that we did on Super Team, right? We had a few guys that built great stuff to have these P-Node analytics platforms, but those now become real when XAND staking is live. There will be the managers. Some of you have already applied as a manager, and Get My Node, you're one of them, right? So we will approve these managers. We will go live with that. We will raise money for equity in the anchor round of Xandeum Platform Corporation. That's kind of super important, right? So if we go a little bit like not so much available for the community during that time, bear with us, because we need to raise money now. If we don't raise money within a short period of time, nothing of this will ever happen, right? We just need, we definitely, we're definitely raising that capital with the Xandeum Platform Corporation. We already have a few people that are interested. It's going to be a so-called private investment round, so it's by invitation only. It's going to be a high minimum investment there. We even have a small VC firm, a micro VC firm that is interested, and a few other kind of like angel investors that are doing that. So that's coming right after STOINC. Then once STOINC is there, we've raised that capital round. In parallel, we are finding pilot customers, as I've mentioned, for that unstoppable operational data. It has a brand name. I haven't revealed that brand name yet. I will do that in one of the next videos. There's even a website already out there with the brand name. Maybe some of you find it. I'm not sure. So finding those pilot customers that want unstoppable storage and pay for it, that means the STOINC will come in for the Platform Corporation, but also 95% to you guys, the P nodes. So that will be awesome. Once we can show that, we will sell more P nodes, right? I want to hold off with that until we've reached that major milestone. We have funded Platform Corporation. We have the first paying pilot customers that have the STOINC flowing in, and then everyone sees how STOINC works, right? And how it flows to the P nodes depending on the boost NFTs that they have and all that kind of stuff. So once this is not just Bernie talking about it for months and months and months and having delays and delays and delays, but once it's real, then we're going to do another P node sale, right? Then in parallel, obviously, we are further developing the protocol, right? There's lots of things to do, right? We want the retention fees being implemented, right? We want the BFT. So the BFT, a Byzantine fault tolerance, guys, it might be boring for many of, for me it's not, but for me it's the most exciting thing ever, right? If we build a storage network that's tightly connected to smart contracts on Solana and then on other host chains, but has a consensus, like a blockchain grade consensus among these nodes, and that's what's called BFT, Byzantine fault tolerance, right? It is tolerant against P nodes failing, but also tolerant against malicious P nodes that are trying to game the system, right? If we can do that, that is like it's a breakthrough that happens, you know, once in a decade or something like that, right? So that is super exciting, and this is not self-purpose, guys. This is something that helps sell the unstoppable operational data. This data really needs to be unstoppable, tamper-proof, censorship resistance. That's our unique selling proposition, our USP. That's how we get customers to use the storage layer to store lots of data there, right? And that's how we get all these apps, be it AI governance apps, be it like trading apps. So that's one of the ideas that we have. If we do trading in a sense that you can prove your history, right? You have a strategy. And with that strategy, you're making this and that return, but you can prove it. Tamper-proof, right? That's totally new, right? There are so many platforms out there that offer like copy trading or something, and you can pay a guy to get his trades and copy his trades or her trades for that matter. But you know, you never know if it's true, right? With Xandeum, you do know it's true, right? So there could be a trading app and all these types of things. So we need the BFT. So that's a major thing, right? We might not need the BFT to make the initial revenues, but in order for this thing to really take off and for people to store, you know, petabytes and petabytes and even exabytes of storage on there, we need that BFT, right? But we're starting without it. We're finding pilot customers without it, but also the pilot customers, they will only sign up, right? With like, and we're thinking larger companies that store at least a petabyte, right? So if 1 terabyte with redundancy is like $25 a month, then if you store a petabyte, that's $25,000 a month. Those are the customers that we're after, right? The initial customers that have a petabyte or more. And you know, we're in contact with these, and that's a very common size. Most of them have like between 1 and 10 petabytes in operational data. And in order for that to happen, they might start now, but only if they see the path to BFT, right? Because if it's in the end just a centralized system, and that's what it is right now, it's going through Atlas, and Atlas is one centralized system here, right? Atlas is the one orchestrating the P nodes, but the P nodes need to orchestrate themselves, right? In a consensus among those P nodes, and that's the BFT. That's what we're building. It is very technical. It doesn't, you know, it's not something you guys can participate in. It's just something you guys can benefit from, because with that BFT, that will enable us to sell all that storage, right? To convince all those entrepreneurs that want to build the next Web3 app to build it on Xandeum, right? That BFT is crucial, right? And then we need to implement fee markets, right? And that's all in the roadmap that was there from day one, right? So we're just going through that roadmap. Then there's fee markets, because we don't want to set those fees just as, you know, Foundation says it's going to be 0.005 W sol for a transaction or something, and even the retention fees, right? This needs to be dynamic each and every yuga, right? So a yuga is like, I think 2.7 days or something like that in our scenario. Each and every yuga, we will see how many P nodes are there. What amount of storage do they offer? That's the supply. And then we will see the demand from the side of the apps, right? And there is, if there's an imbalance between supply and demand, then the price needs to change, right? Because otherwise, either if we don't do that dynamically, either we will not get enough P nodes because they earn too little and they can't cover their cost, or we can't get any new customers because the price is too high and they are not willing to pay that, right? So that means there need to be market forces, there need to be fee markets, free market fee markets, to calculate these prices dynamically, right? So that is the roadmap after STOINC. So that was your question. Get my node, and that's what we're after, right? Implement the retention fees, raise money for Xandeum Platform Corporation, get the initial customers on the unstoppable operational data, sell more P nodes after that, build the BFT, and build the fee markets, right? So if we get everything done by the end of the year, it would be super fantastic, right? But let's see. Maybe only in initial versions or stuff like that, but the retention fees is something that's coming next. The capital raise is coming next. Finding the customers for unstoppable operational data. So those are the three things that we're doing right now. And some of them, frankly, have to go right? We'd have to find pilot customers. We'd have to do that funding round, because otherwise it'll have an impact on some of the further plans here. All right, so let me read more of those comments here. So get my node again after STOINC. Bernie will take questions. Okay. When will new P nodes be visible on mainnet? With visible, you mean visible where? Honestly, I'm not really technically into that. That would be a question for Brad or something. I'm not competent to say that. I think it's in the P node portal somehow. Not sure if they're visible there or not, but Brad is working on that. So maybe you'll ask Brad on Discord. Can you say Stoyan Roy, can you say anything about if and when there will be more NFTs and P nodes for sale? Yeah, I mentioned that already. Great question, right? So yeah, I think I laid it out, right? We're going to do a few things first, and then once we have the pilot customers and we have the XPC funding round completed, then it's a great time to offer more P nodes, right? I would hesitate now to just offer more P nodes and then, not having really an added value as compared to the last P node sale, right? I really want to show value here, and I want to, it's one. I don't know if any of you bought Tesla shares back in the day, right? It's like Tesla shares started in like 2011 or something, and they went nowhere up until 2018, right? Even though it was clear they make huge progress. They make huge progress, right? But it wasn't real. You couldn't see like hundreds of thousands of Model 3s on the streets, right? And by the end of 2018, you could. Suddenly it was real. People were like, well, we cannot ignore that. There's another Model 3, another Model 3. Look at that. And it's only, what, $39,000, right? It's something that that works with the mass market, right? And of course, interest rates were low then. You could get them for a few $100 a month with a loan, right? Just as any other car. So I want to get real with Xandeum and with STOINC and customers actually paying fees that will convert into STOINC that goes to the P. And once you see that, that's a great moment to sell more P nodes. Which also means like you're not going to be able to get them on the cheap right now before it's real, right? Because when it's going to get real, that's a different story. Then get my node again. I mean, truly new P nodes that didn't have a DevNet P node before. I think you see them in Gossip, get my node, right? So if you read our documentation, you can call the node command or P node command and just show all the P nodes that are in Gossip, right? So you will see all these P nodes with the Gossip command, right? It's a little bit technical now, but it's all documented. We have all the docs out. And your question is probably when will you see them in the P node portal or something like that. So I know that Brad made the P node portal for what we have right now. And once we launch the STOINC, there should be more visible there, but I'm not that deep into that. So again, it's a question for Brad. He's out there on Discord, so you can ask him directly. Banked, I came in late, but I hope you have a description how nodes should be set up in mainnet and DevNet. Should I use the same keys in both DevNet and mainnet? Probably use different keys. You know, nothing stopping you from using the same key pairs, but I would use different key pairs. It makes it easier to distinguish between them. And how they're set up, that's all in the documentation on docs.xandeum.network, I would assume. And if it's not, just leave us a ticket and then we will get that updated. Trading up is a good idea. I do think so. I really do think so. For the reasons that I mentioned. And, you know, it's just a stockpile of like a handful of apps that we are thinking about ourselves. If anyone wants to build them instead of Xandeum, we're super excited about that, right? So we're always there. Just submit a ticket or something like that, or ping us on Discord. If you want to build one of those apps, it doesn't have to be Xandeum, right? So we can definitely talk about that, how we can help each other in doing that. Yeah. Stoy and Roy, thank you so much, Bernie, for explaining all that technical stuff with BFT, etc. Very interesting for a non-techie to hear. Don't doubt that. All right. Ricky Benny, Bernie, I can connect you to venture capital to raise funds. That would also be great. How do you do that? Maybe create a ticket. It's at help.xandeum.network. You just go to help.xandeum.network. Register there with your email, create a ticket, just say, hey, you want to get in contact with Bernie, then the team will forward that ticket to me and we can get in touch. Okay, Stoy and Roy, will it be only P nodes or will there also be NFTs for sale, or is that maybe unknown for now? It's probably unknown, but it's quite likely there also will be NFTs for sale because yeah, we will see that then, that STOINC is coming in. STOINC is being boosted, multiplied by having all those NFTs. So probably there will be a lot of demand for NFTs as well. So I would say it's likely that there's going to be P nodes and also NFTs on sale. And again, I mean, I've repeated that so many times, but I'm saying it here again. With those P nodes on mainnet, they are permissionless, right? So anyone can run a P node on mainnet. There's nothing centralized about it, so anyone can do it permissionlessly. You just need to get your stake on your own, right? So either you have a lot of XAND and you stake it to yourself, that's fine. Or you find some other people that stake with you, that's also fine. But chances are you will appreciate getting some stake from the Xandeum Foundation. I think the latest thing that we had in mind was like giving a stake of 10 million XAND to a P-node operator that's not only on mainnet, which anyone can do, but if they're also on DevNet, which will be renamed to testnet at some point in time, really soon. If they're also running a node on DevNet, which requires a license, right, then they get the foundation stake. And with that, they are way more likely to earn money with their mainnet P-node. But, if they don't need to earn money with a mainnet P-node, or maybe they have enough XAND from someplace else, or they have people that want to stake tons of that XAND to their P-node, they don't need to have one on main. They just won't get the 10 million XAND or even more from Xandeum Foundation, and they'll have to take care of that themselves. So that's important that you all understand that, right? And for that to happen, to get the foundation stake, you need to have a mainnet P node and a DevNet P node. You need to connect them in the P node portal, and then you will get the foundation stake. If you have mainnet P nodes that have no corresponding DevNet P node, then that mainnet P node will not get the foundation stake, right? It's only those pairings that will get the foundation stake. All right. So then Sasha, great update, Bernie. Thank you for keep pushing this over the finish line. Thank you. It's all complex stuff. It takes more than we all wish for, but we're pressing forward, and now, raising capital with Platform Corporation is the most important thing. And again, I hope you all have understanding if I'm not 100% within the community. I try to juggle all this, right? I try to juggle staying connected with you guys on videos, on Discord sometimes, but I cannot be on Discord every day, right? I just cannot. And but still pushing it forward as much as we can. And I think you guys deserve that I'm here from time to time and do these videos, and am on Discord and from time to time, and I'm doing my best to push all that, because in the end, I'll do it for you. It's so much fun to do it for you and with you, and I couldn't even do it without you, right? So and this is not like an obligation or something. It's just my lifeblood. But I just ask for understanding that I cannot do that, as often as every one of us would wish for, just because, there's all of these things. And I'm grateful, get my node for your question of what's next. And I'm shocked a little bit myself when I'm like, okay, we're doing this. Those are all important things, right? Retention fees, and finding the unstoppable data pilot customers, raising funds with Platform Corporation, getting all these P-node analytics platforms out there, and building BFT, that's the big one, and then building the fee markets, right? So it's a lot of stuff. Sasha, wait. Ricky Benny, all right, Bernie, I will do that, but hope Xandeum is registered. Whatever you mean. There's many Xandeums, right? The Xandeum Foundation, there's Xandeum Labs, Xandeum Foundation, and then there's Xandeum Platform Corporation. Those are all companies that are registered. If you mean that, incorporated or something. Yeah, they are. How do we do the pairing? Is there a documentation? You just do the pairing in the P-node portal, right? You can't do it right now because the P-node portal is now in a state where it's only for the DevNet P-nodes, in a sense. But once this gets out, it's just going to be in the P-Node portal. No documentation needed. It's like, you know, super easy. It's just not out there yet, but it will be in the next few days. All right, good. Yeah, so that was it. Any more questions? I see a lot of people watching live here, but we only had 2 or 3 that were active on the live questions today. It was still a lot of fun. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe, collect your points in season 3, and yeah.